Welcome to Cocktails and Careers, where you get to be yourself. This is a platform for everyone looking to up the ante on their career, but especially my brothers and sisters.
Right.
What can we do to elevate us and take us to the next level? So, this is a safe space where we take a whole person approach. We want you to show up authentically, be yourself, and hopefully get some career tips that are inspiring for you. Want to welcome Angel Stewart, who I've known for years, who is
Sure.
a veteran recruiter, career coach extraordinaire, who knows her stuff and has helped hundreds, if not thousands, of Black professionals in their careers over the years, working in-house at major investment banks, also working for Twigo Foundation. And now she has started her DI staffing firm like me. We're competitors, but we're sisters on a mission to create a talent landscape that reflects our melting pot society. So the name of Angel's firm is McCain Stewart. And, if you want to get in touch with her for staffing needs or career coaching, I'm sure she'll tell us how to get in touch with her. So welcome, Angel. How's your day going?
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure. Like you said, we've known each other for a long time, still in this
Yeah.
game. So
Yeah.
love it. Happy to be here. And was
Kudos to you. Let's bring these cocktails in. What do you have? Like a margarita? Like what do you
it's
got
like a
going on?
limoncello, Pellini, lemon, I don't know,
Mm.
something. I like.
You made that yourself?
Well, it's I like to make mine kind of like a margarita. So I put it in
Nice.
this little cup I have that freezes stuff instantly, so it's melted a little
Mhm.
bit. But yeah.
Nice,
So no, I
nice.
poured it. I poured it. Who am I kidding?
Well,
Yes.
it looks beautiful. I love it. And it cheers to end of the day, if not end of the day. Cheers to the break in the day because a lot of us work very long hours. You know what it's like to be an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
This is a little spritzer with Malibu rum, coconut
Oh,
rum, my
I see.
favorite.
I see something dangling on it. What did you?
No,
What is?
no,
No,
no. It's like an
nothing like.
iridescent
Oh, glass. I
wine
thought there was
glass.
like
So it
a
has a
pineapple
little,
or thinking.
yeah. So I put a little cran watermelon and a little ginger ale in here,
So
made
you
me a
really
little
did make
spritzer.
yours. No, I just
Yeah,
poured
I
mine. Yeah.
did. After a long day, surely we need that. So
Yeah.
today
Yeah.
we're going to discuss
Okay.
how to land your first interview. I
Yes.
think it's important. A lot of people have a hard time getting their foot in the door. So
Yeah.
today we're going to
Yeah.
talk all things landing your first interview. I have a set of questions,
Mhm.
definitely, I have for Angel, and we can just chop it up and have this discussion
Yeah.
and chill. Bring your drink, bring your mocktail, your cocktail,
Mhm.
all that, and get some nuggets of wisdom from two veterans in the business. So let's start with question number one.
Okay.
Why someone might ask, why does everyone else seem to be getting their first job interviews except for me? And how would you answer that?
Yeah, that's
So,
frustrating. And what I tell people is, and as you know, veteran recruiters that we are, which means we've been in the
mhm,
game a long time, pay attention to the first 3 or 4 things in the job description. Those are the things that really matter. And what that
right,
means, pay attention to it. Your resume, your application has to answer those things. So if they ask for these 4 skills, mention these 4 skills. Otherwise, it's out.
right,
That's with if people are reviewing it and more now that AI, that stuff is electronically looking for word
sure,
searches, your words need to match the words they're looking for. And so,
true.
especially with things going through AI and people are getting, so many applications now, I think that's happening more and more. And I don't have feel a certain kind of way about that, but because people
Right.
can read into it and say, "Oh, I get it, I get it." But when that first screen is an automatic screen or something that's artificial intelligence, it's going to look for a match. And so if you're not getting the resumes and you know and you truly believe you're qualified, think about that. Think about matching the words that are on the job description, on your application, on your resume. That's the first thing they're going to look for. You can't
I
expect them to, the
agree.
first part is to, well, he probably did this because he did that and it looks close. Probably not going to happen.
Yeah, straightforward resumes, I think, are the way to go. A lot of people have a tough time with putting together their resumes. I think knowing your value add
Yes.
when constructing your resume is
Yeah.
very important. And like you said, aligning it to the job description. So you
Yeah.
may have to custom tailor
Yep.
each and every resume based on the jobs that you're applying for. So like
Right.
Angel said, pay attention to the first 4 bullets. I would say know your value add from the start. When you're starting to write your resume, or if you have it written, you want to make sure it speaks your voice. It speaks your unique value add and what you bring to the table. I think, a lot of people get lost in the fluff of it all. The
Yeah.
wording, they want to make it look pretty.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, hiring managers want to see what you can do.
Right.
And they're only spending, what is it, 8 seconds reviewing your resume before they're moving on to the next one. So how do you make your resume and your value add count in 8 seconds is what's very important
Very
to know.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So let's move on to number 2. How can someone distinguish themselves from the many other resumes that hiring managers may review?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I like to see and what I think is important and helpful is don't just list what you did. Tell me what you achieved.
Yep.
Increased cash flow efficiency, successfully led 2 deals to completion. Tell me some achievements instead of just what you did, that I, moved, pin here to pin there, over there, just move stuff around. So tell me about achievements, because I'm going to look at that and say, oh gosh, I want him to come do that for me.
Yeah, I think,
I want
like
her
you
to make
said,
that for me. Yeah. So
I think
that's
the monetizing or the quantifying, and
yes.
I think a lot of people have a hard time with that. Even people like we work in finance, right? It's all about the money. A lot of the roles we work on are revenue generating roles. But I think if you're doing roles in risk where you're using cost saving measures, you're better streamlining processes and procedures for companies.
Achievements.
That's a way to show, like you said, achievable results. And I think
value
hiring managers want to see those actions delivered. So, dry resumes, like I know specifically for investment bankers, I like when they list the select transactions that they've worked on.
Yes.
And there's a way that every resume could look the same way, even if you're doing a different type of role. Well, I worked on this project and I achieved this. And it saved the company this amount of money, or it revenue generated this amount of money for the company. I made a process that was sustainable, that was efficient, that is
time to do
scalable.
something.
Right. So I think the quantification of resumes is what hiring managers want to see. And I think that's what makes you stand out from the crowd, that you're straightforward, you're straight shooting, you're aligning, like Angel said, your words with what is on the resume because of the applicant tracking systems and AI. And we can have a whole nother conversation about that because that can be biased. But that's for another day. But monetizing your worth is what's important. And I think understanding what your worth is, and again, your value add is so important. I
would add to that. At the end of the day, so often, when you're in those conversations, even let's say you get through the interview and it's a couple of candidates are down to the last 2, and what so often comes up, well, look, this guy did this guy, he achieved and he led this team and they blah, blah. And it is really going to come down to kind of monetizing or that value add. And just because he had this success, I want him to do that. That so often, if I don't have that information about a candidate that maybe I otherwise like, sorry for the noise outside. I'm in Harlem.
No worries. I have noise outside here too. It's all good.
Never fails. But when it comes down to that and the finals, it's hard to argue that. And maybe this person did it, but if the person kind of pulling for you doesn't have that information, kind of going to lose every time. He probably did it, but I can't back it up.
I agree. So, but I have another question. I think another comment. I think it's in the day and age that we're in, networking is everything. So knowing the field that you're in, knowing the major players in the field that you're in, making some deep, meaningful connections within the field that you're in, kind of having your, like recruiters like us, We have our pulse on the hiring trends, on the people that are out there, on the companies that are hiring. You, as someone who's looking for a job, needs to have the pulse on your industry. You need to know what's going on, who's hiring, who's out there, who you need to know, and going to as many events as possible, and kind of personalizing the experience for you, because you're getting to know some of the movers and shakers who are out there and some of the hiring managers. So I would also add networking as an important component to your, being able to give your value add and everything on a resume, but also knowing or trying to make connections with those hiring managers who are hiring could be key as well.
Yeah, and certainly just meeting other people. I think that's the best way to get information, and so that's the value add of networking. We hear all kinds of things in the news and rumors. I hear that they're laying off. I hear that so and so's hiring. I hear that this person is leaving, and there's a lot of layoffs going on. That's true. I kind of say that's always true, but there's always still hiring. So often, people get discouraged. Oh, a Citigroup has laid off a bunch of people. If you go to Citigroup's webpage, they still have jobs.
They're hiring.
They're hiring. They still have. It's kind of a replacement, kind of a musical chairs, and they're moving stuff around. So try not to be. I tell people, don't be discouraged that everybody's laying off. This industry is not going anywhere. You and I have been through ups and down times. There's always been hiring. There's always been hiring, and you just need to be aware of it. And so that networking piece, one, it's going to let you hear what's going on and where all that stuff is, keeping in mind, ultimately, you need one job, one firm to be hiring one person. And if you look at it from those odds, in the area, you're good. Your odds are pretty good. So you can hear what's going on there. But then you also, I think, from the other side of it, you're going to hear from a lot of other people, and you may hear other people of places to avoid that might be hiring.
Right.
It's tough to work that get in. And so listen to it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But you can't really hear about it if you're not talking to people. And out there, and now there are conversations and chat groups and things online.
Definitely. I think we as Black people, a lot of us have had to navigate white spaces, white workspaces. So it is important that we know what company is what the experience, what the Black experience looks like at a lot of these different companies. As you're moving your career along, you want to know these things, because I find that the new trend here in the last couple of years post George Floyd is people want to work for companies that are going to pay them, of course, but that are going to align with their beliefs and convictions. And that is just not looking to check boxes at the end of the day. So you just want to make sure you're doing the extra work to put your best foot forward there.
And that's going to be as much as you can. Because they're all scrubbing and putting their best feet forward, and if you speak to 5 people, you're going to get 5 different experiences. So you're going to get 1 to 3.5. So you're going to do that as best as you can. But I think networking and finding about the opportunities we as Black people have kind of been locked out of, because we don't have as many people on the inside. We don't have, a longevity of people. And we're just now starting to see uncles and dads who maybe were there, but they've got grandfathers and generations, and they've grown up knowing these managing directors and partners at firms. And so it's just we're just now creating that. And so that's a block that we have to get people to understand. How come you didn't know that wasn't what we talked about around, so keeping out there, but really paying attention to relationships, even when you leave an organization, keep it in a good way, keep those relationships, because the people that you left, some of them are going to move to other places too. And that could be opportunities for you. I really, really emphasized, and I didn't appreciate it until I, got to kind of where I am now, which is many years in the business, the importance of relationships. I now can't entirely remember networks. And so I had a conversation with someone today, and he mentioned a name of someone. The name was familiar to me, and I looked it up and looked him up on LinkedIn. I'm like, oh yeah, I hired that guy out of undergrad into his first job.
And look where he is. He's a partner our MD now.
Exactly. Oh, I know him well.
Well,
I
that
stuff on
speaks
that
to
kid.
your proven track record in the
Right,
game.
right. But
That's
yeah,
for
so
sure.
keep them. So relationships are key. And so try to keep, well, even if you leave, and we've left a lot of organizations, but in a way that we can, I would never go back to work for most of them probably,
Right,
but we still
right.
have good relationships on the insides, and people are going to say, good, gentle things, because so much when you're recruiting, and it can come down to getting one bad review from someone,
Right.
can make a difference, because it's so hard
It
when we're down
can.
to those last two
It
candidates.
can.
I've
And I'm
seen.
from the school that you never burn a bridge. I don't know. I'm
Right.
old school Wall Street. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
we started Wall Street recruiting. Well, I started Wall Street recruiting in the 90s. So I know I'm dating myself here.
Me
But
too. Yeah.
you never burn a bridge, because you
Yep.
never know when you're going to run into that person again. And plus, as Black employees, we're so far and few.
Yeah.
Most likely we know each other out
Yeah,
there.
exactly. Exactly. Or
So
someone knows you. Yeah. I
yeah.
started in the 90s as well. As I tell a lot of people now, make that point early on, because again, they don't always know that.
Right.
And I do
Right.
that a lot. I don't want them to start defining
Mhm.
diversity to me, because I tell them when I
Right.
started in this groups, it was just diversity. They didn't care about the E&I yet. That wasn't part of
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. And I think we started diversity recruiting before it became such a popular colloquial, and now it's turned to
Yeah.
an over $1 billion business.
Yeah.
And I think, again, what makes us unique as not only Black women business owners owning staffing firms is that we recruit through a unique lens where we're
Right.
always looking to uplift people who look like us
Yeah.
at the end of the day. So that's just a plug for me and Angel.
What we
If you
do.
want to, swing some job orders our way and
That's who
work
we
with
find.
us.
That's who we
Yeah,
know.
definitely.
Yeah.
Always looking for new clients here and here. But let's move on to question number 3. So how would you suggest that someone addresses job hopping, like they've moved around frequently? That is a touchy subject.
Yeah.
It's not the Wall Street that it used to be back in the day, where people worked at a place for 20 years and then they retired. There are a lot of job hoppers out there who move based on, and especially being Black. A lot of us work in untenable work situations. We're put, we reach the glass ceiling very quickly at our firms and understand that we go no further. So we need to look for a new job. So there are various situations that cause us to make a move. So how do you discuss the elephant in the room without, eliminating yourself from getting that interview?
Yeah. And it has to be discussed. And I think it is something that happens to us, because if we don't feel that we fit in, and we don't feel that we have opportunities, and then someone comes and picks us off, it will be picked off, and we're going to go. And then it happens again and again. But on the other, we have to explain it. So what we have to do, never go negative. Keep in mind, because what you're going to say if you were on the other side, because they're always, feeling that, well, if they say this negative thing about that place, what are they going to say about me when they leave? So never go negative. Work out your story for each move in advance and make it as positive as you can. And so understand the opportunities, and make each move seem as much as thoughtful as possible. We know that it's never going to be, I wouldn't move every single year, try not to do that, but it happens sometimes. But see how the opportunity to move, even though and sometimes it was an unfortunate layoff. I was doing this and talk about achievements, and then unfortunately, my direct report, a direct manager left, and that dispersed the team. And so final analysis of it, I was the one who, or me and a few others, or I was the one who had to move on. But not but, because that sounds defensive, and it is. And I turned that opportunity to do this and pick up this skill. So always try to put it in a positive light, but work that out in advance so that you can truly believe it, sell it, and feel like it, and get over the feelings of why you had to leave, why you were laid off, why you were kicked out. Turn it around into an experience, a good experience. And so keeping it positive, but keep it clear and clean so you can hit it and quit it, and we don't get stuck on it.
I hear you. And that makes sense.
The explanation.
Yeah, and you
Hard.
kind of tune people out when you're really going down the windy road and you're sounding
Right,
long-winded. And it's so funny because I know you do the career coaching, I do the career
yeah,
coaching, and when I help people craft their interview story, I'm
yes,
like, okay, we
yes,
need to be quick and to the point on this. We need
yes.
to discuss the elephant in the room to diffuse
Mhm.
any negative thoughts that may come up in
Yep.
that interview.
Yeah.
You know, you want to discuss it, but I love, would you say hit it and quit it? I
Mhm.
love that
Yeah, yeah.
because that in itself is, come and tell your story.
Mhm.
Sometimes things don't work out,
Right.
but never badmouth a previous
Yes.
employer or a current employer you're with. Make it, like you said, as positive as possible, but, hit it and move on.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah.
To, well, this is what I accomplished in this role. And unfortunately, there was a series of changes in management that forced me to look at this new opportunity.
Yeah.
Or,
My role team.
there's
My team.
always a way to cast things
Yeah.
in a more positive
Right.
light.
And then that led
So
me to XYZ. I was speaking to a
exactly,
young man today, and I also say, use
exactly.
everything that you have. A young man, I think he graduated 4 years ago. And
Yeah.
after, deep conversation, he mentioned a story of how he got interested in the finance world. He attended this
Mhm.
summer's class at Harvard, Stanford, some major college, and that
Sure.
great. He goes, well, I thought it was too far away. You were out of school 3 years. Like, no, it's not. And it's a great
No, that's part of
story.
your
Right.
story, and
It's a
it's
great
so
story. It's
important.
having a good story.
Right,
Well, how that opened your light, your eyes, talk about that.
right,
And we like
right,
stories because it helps us believe that you're not just applying because it's open. We
right,
want someone who
right,
sincerely, especially even in this industry, they're not artists who I've always been a singer, but
right.
people in finance have always been interested. We like to hear in business what makes a company successful, what impacts the economy. And so when I pulled that out of him, like, my God,
Yeah, and I
it's
think I
hard
think the
there.
personalization of it
Yes.
all. Like
Yeah.
I
A good
went to this
story.
class and it really piqued my interest.
Yes.
And then from then on, I knew that this was
Mhm.
my
And you've been
trajectory.
focused.
Like, yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
So
and
think about
people like
that.
to hear that. It piques,
Yeah.
because people love to give same cookie cutter interview answers all the time. So
Right.
it's important to know not only what you do in your resume, but how you speak to
Yeah.
your story and breathe
Yes.
life
And have
into
a
it.
story.
That's so important.
Yeah.
You have to have a
Have a
story,
story.
you
And it needs to
know?
be unique to you because I tell
Right.
people, at the end of the day, when they're in those finalist candidate meetings, you and I have been in
Mhm.
there fighting for this candidate.
Right.
I gotta have all that I have. Well, this one, and look at this. He's been interested in this since he
Mhm.
was 16 and took that class. And look what he's done
Right.
so far. And he's sincerely interested in it. Whatever. We need all of that when we're in there fighting for a candidate to get that
Mhm.
offer.
And I
Um,
think it boils down to personality and
yep.
connection,
Hmm.
human connection. Well, I like this guy. Like there's
Yes.
something about him
Yeah.
or her
Yeah.
that really resonated with me.
Exactly.
So, it's so important to have that connection.
Yes.
Especially when you're interviewing.
Yes. The
So,
personal story.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, definitely.
Personal. Yeah.
This is great, Angel. I think we need to do more of these, honestly,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
I
It's
think
great
it
talk.
can help, our viewership and beyond,
Mhm.
especially take their career to the next level, because these are all nuggets of wisdom that we've given to our audience here. But yeah, any closing remarks or anything that you would add?
I just really want to reiterate what we've been talking about is
Mhm.
know your story, have it, work on it, stay positive, talk about value add, think about business and think about things that you're interested in and what pulls you into what
Right.
would be attracted to you. Put yourself in that hiring seat. You don't want to
Mhm.
hear negativity. You don't want to hear a lot of
Right.
excuses. You want to hear that something sincere and real and creative of why they're interested in this. And that's going to make that a part of your story.
Yeah.
Hang in there. If you're doing the right thing, recruiting is tough on both sides. It's tough for us to find the right
Yeah,
candidate,
it's a tough market
tough
right
for
now.
you
Definitely.
to find the right goal. But you just need one really good job at a time.
Yep.
So
Yep. And I
hang in
think
there.
so too. So, I mean, Angel really gave us some great highlights here.
Okay.
Aligning your resume with the first 4 lines of the job description and the
Yes.
qualification. Those, employers put the qualifications, the most important ones at the top. So custom tailoring your resume, like you said, the interview story, knowing your value, speaking to maybe why you've made additional job moves. Networking is important, personalization, uniqueness. All those things are so important. Thank you, Angel, for joining me today. And thank you to our viewership here. We're going to do this. I'm doing Cocktails and Careers every third Wednesday of the month. So look for our content. And, if you feel inspired about this topic and you want to get in touch with me or Angel, please reach out to her. We are sisters in this recruiting industry. I don't see her as a competitor. I see her as my sister.
What's interesting,
and
we're
we're
both
on a
AS.
mission here.
We're our names.
Right. Angela Solomon and Angel Stewart. I mean, come on. I mean, kismet here, kismet connection.
Absolutely.
But, if you feel inspired, like I said, to take your career to the next level, you will go ahead and message me or Angel. We'll put in here how to get in touch with us.
Absolutely.
And, you want to chat about what success looks like for you, reach out to us.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much, Angel, for being here today. And I definitely want you back on again. I think these are important conversations that need to be had. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And enjoy the rest of that cocktail.
Okay. I'll do that now. Okay.
All righty. Take care.
Thanks.
All righty. Cheers. Bye-bye.